Elite Facts presents
7 ridiculous myths about fast food.
7.
McDonald's burgers never decay. Okay, admittedly, this is our favorite myth because we always like saying to friends that McDonald's burgers will last longer than you. But obviously, that's not the case at all. You've probably seen internet content that explains how McDonald's hamburger patties never decay after being intentionally left out for days at a time. While it's true that they don't really rot as you'd expect, it isn't because they're not real meat. Since McDonald's burgers don't have a lot of moisture in them after being cooked, they tend to simply dry out when left in open air. Also, an independent study found that McDonald's burgers rot at the same rate as a homemade burger would.
6.
Egg McMuffins are pre-packed. Again, this is yet another rumor that we can't help but laugh at. As much flack as people give McDonald's for their processed food, even if they state that they use the freshest of ingredients, they do, in fact, have integrity. The perfect egg shape you see on items like the McMuffin are achieved by using a ring mold that creates a uniform shape each time. I mean, it's a pretty easy thing to do, but we just think it's hilarious how everyone suddenly grabs their pitchforks and torches and declares that McDonald's Egg McMuffins are processed. It's witchcraft, I tell you. But these eggs are, in fact, 100% real and not pre-packaged. So please don't be burning any McDonald's employees at the stake for their black magic perfect egg shapes.
5.
Dine-in restaurants are much healthier than fast food joints. Oh boy, do we have news for you. Now, it's common knowledge that established restaurants are also unhealthy for you, but just because it's a little bit healthier than actual fast food, people immediately jump on the bandwagon to say it's a much healthier alternative. Not all of us are made of money, damn it. We can't go to a freaking restaurant every day for lunch and wipe our mouths with dollar bills. Anyway, we're going off topic a bit there, but okay, let's say you've decided that you want to take the family out to eat because it's a special occasion. But as much as your kids keep screaming about McDonald's, you can't help but feel guilty at the thought of feeding your family garbage from a fast food joint. So instead, you decide that you should go to a sit-down restaurant, since those places clearly offer much healthier options than the local McDonald's. Unfortunately for your family, you may have made the wrong choice. A study examined full-service restaurant menus, and the results were not at all pleasant. While a combo meal at a fast food burger joint has more calories than you need for one meal, a full meal at a sit-down restaurant may have more than you need in an entire day. A meal for an adult has an entree with a side and half an appetizer, along with the free bread that's often offered. The average full meal at a sit-down place hits about 1,500 calories and goes well over the daily recommended limit for saturated fat and sodium content. If you throw in a drink and half a dessert, the average restaurant meal puts you over your daily recommended caloric intake. Maybe skip the trip out altogether and just cook from home.
4.
McDonald's frozen desserts and drinks don't contain dairy. Some people claim that milkshakes from McDonald's aren't actually milkshakes and thus can't be labeled as a true dairy product if milk isn't involved. It's true that the treats don't use real ice cream, which is why McDonald's doesn't call them milkshakes. Instead, they use a pre-made mix, one that actually does contain dairy. Making actual ice cream shakes fresh on a massive scale, day in and day out, would be hard to manage logistically. You may choose not to drink their shakes if you don't like the taste, but for those of you who do, there isn't anything out of the ordinary to worry about. Except maybe about how unhealthy that dessert is and whether or not you're lactose intolerant. Otherwise, enjoy.
3.
Fast food salad is the healthy alternative. Wrong. As much as we hate to be negative, fast food salad may be one of the worst things on the menu. Now, yes, it's common to think that their salads are okay, as they look like the healthiest option in comparison to all the other junk on the menu. I mean, they're made of vegetables, after all, which surely have to be better for you than greasy burgers and fries, right? Well, unfortunately, this is not the case. In reality, the salad option contains so much cheese, dressing, or meat on it that it's just as bad as everything else on the menu. The Consumerist looked at several fast food chains and found that the salads have as many calories as other menu items. Even worse, salads often contain more fat, more sugar, and oftentimes an absolutely whopping pile of sodium. Add to that all the preservatives added in order to keep it fresh, and you have one of the worst items on the menu. While salad may sometimes be a healthy option, when you buy it from a burger joint, it most likely isn't.
2,
Fast food is much cheaper. Remember that small little joke we made about how not everyone can afford to go to sit down to a restaurant every day for lunch, and that fast food joints are a much cheaper alternative? Well, that's not really the case. One of the most pervasive myths about fast food, as well as junk food in general, is that it's far less pricey than healthier alternatives. Now, although fast food is certainly cheaper when compared to other sorts of restaurants, it's downright expensive when compared to what you prepare at home, even when you cook a higher quality product than what you're paying for at a fast food establishment. Now, if we're talking about feeding a full family, you're going to be paying out the wazoo at McDonald's. So a McDonald's combo meal costs about $7. Let's say you're looking to feed a family of 4. That means you're looking at up to $28 to feed your whole family. Instead of this, why not just go to the store and pick up a chicken and a bunch of vegetables and cook it up for the family? You'd get more out of it and it would cost far, far less. Not to mention, it's a much healthier alternative. Now, this does defeat the purpose of a fast food restaurant. I mean, it's in the title, fast food. So cooking food for yourself and your family does have a cost of its own, as it takes time to prepare and it takes effort. So in that sense, it's counterproductive, but trust us, if you're looking to save money, just take the time to prepare something from scratch.
1,
Arby's beef is made from gel. Okay, this is one we just don't understand at all. So, this strange rumor says that Arby's roast beef arrives at the store in liquid gel form inside a sealed plastic bag. The congealed mixture is heated till it becomes sliceable and is then served to the poor customer who hasn't got a clue as to what they're actually eating. Why does this suddenly sound like a commercial for something like Soylent Green? Unlike some rumors, this one has understandable origins, but it's still false. The fact checkers at Snopes talked to several people who worked at actual Arby's restaurants and learned the source of the confusion. The meat arrives at the store inside airtight plastic bags with a thin layer of basting solution that looks like a gel. This could easily lead a new employee who hasn't yet cut into the bag and roasted the beef to think they were looking at a lumpy, gelatinous mess. You may or may not find Arby's food particularly appetizing, but if there's one thing we have to give them credit for, it's that their beef is actually beef. So we've got no beef with their beef.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.